Walnut Creek, California is home base for Howard Boyd. He might scoff if you call him an artist, but his hobby, in which he uses a scroll saw as a palette, puts him in a master's category. In this program, you'll see some of his favorite works. He gives many items away. Sometimes he uses patterns for his creations. Often, though, he adapts or creates his own designs, making his scroll work original.
You might wonder where I'm getting my patterns. You just look through magazines and all and find them. This happens to be a building that was built for the Tivoli Gardens in Denmark, but it happens it's a Chinese type building, or an Oriental type building, and so I thought it would be nice to do it here. Actually, I was planning it for a larger building, and this is just a model that I had originally. These take quite a while, but it's always fun to do it. And I got interested in the Oriental Buildings. It's an Oriental deal. This tower is on top of it. The shingles are very simply made. You just cut out have a block of redwood and you take a knife and cut them down just the way they make shingles, and then glue them down. The scroll saw work is in the details in the buildings here, and you just use your imagination a great deal, trying to come up with something that would be of interest in our in working with this. And along with that, I had the Chinese junk boats in mind, and so I made a model of that too. And that happens to be a pattern that I just copied from somebody else's. This one here was one that was just taken from a travel magazine, just a picture of it. Anyway, it's quite interesting to study where they came from along with actually making them. Sometimes we'll build a building from a magazine, and then for some reason or other I'm able to see it later on. Here's another one that is the same way, and it happens to be in Mississippi. So you get, we took a trip up the Mississippi River, and this building that's in the magazine turned out to be one that we looked at. So it was very fascinating that I had designed from a picture that Betty had noted in a magazine, and then just so happened that we were down in that area on a trip to up the Mississippi, and this building was there. What the building is a building that was started during the Civil War and was never completely finished. I didn't know exactly what how it was painted or how it looked, but this down below was all brick. So when I came back, I did paint it a brick color, and but I had made the design. I made the miniature, and then I saw the building. Just a coincidence that it happened that way. Well, this is our Brontosaurus that I was working on with the machine, but it's a little different style. This happens to be one that I cut out from a pattern and then made it for our grandchildren at the time. Now we have great-grandchildren, so The great-grandchildren may get it now. Yeah, this was returned to me because it had been broken, and I had just been fixing it. Finally got it put together, so it looks, it's not quite a complete Brontosaurus. You have to have a skin on it. But it's complete as far as the bone work is concerned. This marble tower is one that I saw in a magazine that intrigued me. I've always been fascinated with this type of a gadget that you can work on. And in the magazine, and they had you send in for a diagram. Well, the diagram came, but there has to be some of my work in it too. For instance, the xylophone in there. They said put in a xylophone, but I didn't know where to get a xylophone. Finally got it through Toys R Us. It was a type of a xylophone that I took apart and then made it into this. So that's, and I guess I got the marble separately too. But they send just the diagrams, and it's pretty hard to get the rest of it. Anyway, let's see how it works here. A lot of fun. Well, this is my Ferris wheel. Are you hearing me all right? This is my Ferris wheel that I had seen the plans for it and thought it would be a nice item to get. I especially like it though because of my additions to it. I had pictures of all the people in the family. You mount them, mount the pictures on a thin piece of plywood, and then cut them out using a scroll saw, and actually put them in the on the seats. It turned out to be quite an interesting project, and I've enjoyed it. We've made some additions from time to time, and the seats are all filled. I'm going to have to make another amusement park in order to get everybody in it to it. We'll show it how it works now. I guess you have sound, don't you? Well, when I finished, when I retired from the insurance company that I worked for, I couldn't decide just exactly what to do. However, I had built a dollhouse for my daughter it sort of got out of hand, and we never did get it at her place. It was a little too large. But it did interest me in woodworking, so I started in trying the scroll saw. And the scroll saw is really a wonderful way to do it, because you start in very simply and get as complicated as works as you want to attempt. But you can start in the very first day that you get the scroll saw, and it is just the right kind of a hobby for me. It's a very it's one that requires some patience. I think I have a little patience. And sometimes you get frustrated though, and then all you have to do is just turn off the power and go in and rest a while. The way you do it, you find the pattern that you want to cut out. You put glue, and you can do it by a spray can, and you just spray it on the pattern that you're wanting, and then put the pattern on the board that you've decided to work on. And you of course let it dry before you start in. It's just a matter of putting the pattern on, and then you work it around with the board that you're using here. And it's like working with a sewing machine, actually. The needle in a sewing machine just goes up and down. Well, this is a saw that just goes up and down. So you move your work around to make the whatever, just follow the lines around, and you have a nice pattern. You cut them all out, and then you will wind up with having the pattern itself. These were just the boards around it, so that it makes it very handy to work with. You can use any size board that you want to. Sometimes if you have a large item, it's a little difficult with all the things around it, but you can do it pretty well. What I'm making is a merry-go-round using prehistoric animals. And so I have a Brontosaurus, and a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and a mammoth, a woolly mammoth, and a Triceratops, and I guess that's about it. It'll be around on a circle. This is actually my second scroll saw. The first one was adequate, but this one was a little nicer, and it does have some features about it that I like. This has a blower that blows off, so you don't have to continuously blow with your mouth. And it also has a built-in light here, which is very fine. And it's much easier to change blades on this. This is the blade you use. This is one of the heavier ones, actually. I'm using the heavier blade because it's fairly thick materials. A person who's just starting it would probably use